John Cena cares about John Cena, right? It doesn't matter who he has to smash or bury along the way, as long as he gets his spotlight.
Among wrestling's immortal icons, John Cena stood wrapped in virtue. Frayed jorts, neon armbands, that unshakable smile. To kids, he was the hero who always got back up. Right versus wrong. Hustle, loyalty, respect. He pointed to the crowd. He beat the bad guy. He made the world feel simple. For years, that was enough. He was the face of the company, the locker room constant, the Make-A-Wish machine who never missed a step. He carried WWE through loss, scandal, and shift. He stayed when others left. But over time, something else crept in. Not booze, not backlash, something quieter. Doubt. Because for every spotlight moment, there was a missed opportunity. For every new star rising, another one seemed to fall. Not with a bang, with a silence. And that silence started to sound like control. Was Cena the savior or the ceiling? To the crowd, he was Superman. Untouchable, always the hero. But backstage, the picture wasn't always so clear. Some saw him fighting for the future. Others saw him guarding his throne. This isn't a hit piece. It's not about burying Cena. It's about following a thread through praise and politics, through moments that shaped more than just matches. And that thread begins at SummerSlam 2010. The Nexus had shaken the system. A gang of rookies who attacked legends and tore up the ring. They were supposed to win that night, establish dominance, signal a changing of the guard. Edge and Jericho, veterans, teammates of Cena in that match, backed the plan. They saw the potential, but Cena didn't. Jericho later recalled it. "We told him, you're wrong." Cena shook his head. "Nope, this is what we're doing." And that's exactly what happened. He changed the finish. In the closing stretch, Cena took a DDT on the concrete floor, a spot designed to keep him down. Instead, he popped up, eliminated Justin Gabriel and Wade Barrett back-to-back, and won the match for Team WWE. It was a burial. Jericho and Edge later admitted the decision took the threat away from Nexus. The hottest act in the company lost all momentum. And even though Cena would later admit he should have listened, the damage was irreversible. The Nexus angle collapsed. Their credibility vanished. And a faction that could have defined an era was reduced to an afterthought. To many in the locker room, this was the moment the mask slipped. A top star had chosen legacy over future, dominance over storytelling. And in doing so, Cena was the villain cloaked in applause. But what made that moment more significant is what it symbolized. It was about the fear of losing control. Cena, for all his talk of building up others, couldn't bear to watch someone else become the moment. He was rejecting a shift in power, one that didn't center him. That narrative gained weight again just a year later, with a quieter controversy, the fall of Alex Riley. Once the hype man for The Miz, Riley was ready to soar solo. He had the look, the crowd's energy, and a compelling backstory. But his rise was cut short, and the cause happened behind the curtain. Riley's stalled momentum was the product of heat with Cena, a friction that started over something small and personal. A locker room rib gone too far. According to reports, Cena playfully mocked Riley in front of others. Riley, proud and frustrated, pushed back. There was no chair shot, no on-air confrontation, just a clash of personalities. And that was enough. Riley was pulled from key programs. His screen time dwindled, the rocket push evaporated. The tension was so well known backstage that Roman Reigns would reference it in a 2017 promo against Cena. Ask Alex Riley about that. Riley himself stayed quiet for years, but eventually he confirmed the stories.
I think it came down to really at the end, like two men just not liking each other.
And then I'm going to also say that there was a situation where he stood on his belief system of what he believed it took to be a main event wrestler in the WWE, and I stood on mine.
He described a heated confrontation, an attempt at apology the next day, and a cold shoulder that never thawed. Cena, by Riley's account, didn't just hold a grudge. He held power. Enough power to quietly dim a rising star. The message was clear. If John Cena didn't want you to shine, you didn't. To critics, this painted Cena not as a company man, but a kingmaker who decided who rose and who fell. The man adored by millions might have used his influence to erase those who challenged his image. And in that silence, in the push not given, in the screen time never granted, his shadow grew longer. Then came Dolph Ziggler, charismatic, athletic, loudmouth, everything a mid-carder needed to become a main eventer, except Cena stood in his way. He felt Cena didn't want to pass the torch, that he smiled for the cameras, but blocked rising stars behind the curtain. The real-life tension was thickened by personal history. Ziggler and Nikki Bella had dated before Cena's high-profile relationship with her, a layer of awkwardness that may have seeped into their professional dynamic. For Ziggler, the missed opportunity was a message that some doors in WWE remain closed when the top guy wants them to. Even The Rock wasn't immune. From 2008 to 2012, Cena took repeated shots at him in interviews, not scripted promos, but real-world press. He called Rock a part-timer, accused him of abandoning WWE, and even questioned his sincerity, violating the industry's unspoken code to keep backstage resentment out of public view. These weren't jabs for the camera, they were character attacks. The Rock, upon returning to WWE in 2011, was reportedly furious, and their feud, though electric on television, was charged with real bitterness. The promos felt more like courtroom cross-examinations than wrestling hype. Cena called Rock out for writing insults on his wrist. Rock mocked Cena's squeaky clean image. Every line blurred the line between fiction and reality. Cena would later admit he regretted the trash talk, but the damage had been done. To many, this was no longer a feud between two characters. It was a power struggle between two titans, with Cena weaponizing his status as the full-time face of WWE to publicly belittle a returning icon. And yet, this wasn't the whole picture, because for every tale of sabotage, there is a story of sacrifice. For every career some claim he derailed, there's one he helped elevate. And those moments, too, demand their place in this story. In a company notorious for guarded spots and political protection, John Cena, in the second half of his career, seemed determined to break that mold. He didn't just talk about earning respect, he showed it by losing. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, three stars who shattered the glass ceiling in part because Cena let them. Cena wasn't always the executioner. Sometimes he was the shield. In 2010, Wade Barrett was poised for a massive push. Cena put him over again and again on the mic, let him lead the Nexus, even lost to him on PPV. It was supposed to be Barrett's time, but creative grew unsure. Vince wavered, the crowd cooled, and Cena, no longer convinced, stepped back into his usual role. The loss at SummerSlam, that was one thing. But the aftermath, when Barrett needed someone to validate him, never came. Barrett never reached that level again. He became bad news, then king, then gone. In 2011, in front of a molten Chicago crowd, Cena lost clean to CM Punk in what became one of the most iconic matches of the modern era. No dusty finishes, no distractions, just a pinfall in the middle of the ring. Cena endorsed the result, even walking away silently while Punk celebrated. He gave the moment weight. He gave Punk the keys to the kingdom. In 2013, he handpicked Daniel Bryan, then still seen by many in the company as a B+ player, to face him at SummerSlam. Despite a badly injured elbow, Cena put Bryan over clean as a whistle, then raised his hand for the world to see. No politics, no ego, just a passing of the torch. Hey guys, I just checked. 94% of you watching still aren't subscribed. If you're enjoying these WWE deep dive essays, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you think and lets me keep making the content you love. In 2015, Kevin Owens debuted on the main roster as the NXT champion and immediately stepped to the biggest name in the business. In their very first match at Elimination Chamber, Cena let Owens pin him clean. No shenanigans. Just a decisive win that instantly legitimized Owens as a top-tier talent. It was a surreal moment for many watching. This was the same John Cena critics claimed buried younger stars, now letting a brash newcomer beat him on night one. And that wasn't a one-off pattern. AJ Styles, a beloved icon outside WWE, walked in and pinned Cena clean at SummerSlam 2016, in a match that defined his WWE legitimacy. Seth Rollins did it at SummerSlam 2015 in a high-stakes title versus title bout. Even Roman Reigns, Cena's heir apparent, was given the cleanest possible win at No Mercy 2017. Cena losing and grabbing the mic to publicly endorse Roman as the future. Bray Wyatt, a man Cena once beat in a storyline that frustrated many, was given redemption at WrestleMania 36.
And 6 years ago, at WrestleMania, you took something from me.
In the Firefly Funhouse match, Cena let Bray tear apart his mythos in a surreal deconstruction of his own career. It was a self-burial. Cena turned himself into the punchline, the punch bag, the past. Then there's the side of Cena that exists beyond titles and rivalries. The man fans rarely booed, no matter how they felt about his booking. John Cena has granted over 650 Make-A-Wish dreams, more than any other individual in history. It's not just a number, it's a legacy. He began granting wishes in 2002 and never stopped, even when his schedule barely allowed time to sleep. Cena never let a child's dream die on his watch. If he was the wish, he showed up. WWE offered to send someone else when he was unavailable, but Cena's response was always the same. If I'm their wish, I'll be there. Period. These weren't PR stunts. Some visits had no cameras, no headlines, just one man showing up when he was needed. Even wrestlers who disliked Cena professionally have admitted that this was the one aspect of him no one could question. He was real. He was relentless. He was reliable. Inside the locker room, he became something even rarer, a constant. When WWE lost names like Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Batista, Jeff Hardy, and even CM Punk, Cena was still there. He never walked out. He never failed a substance test. He never demanded a break. Cena stayed, carrying the brand on his back through injury, scandal, and transition. He worked through torn muscles, heartbreak, and exhaustion. He'd do a Make-A-Wish visit, a morning interview, a long drive, and then wrestle a 20-minute main event, all in one day. He was the spine of the company. Wrestlers like Big E, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn have spoken about how Cena helped them navigate WWE's complicated backstage culture. He stayed after shows to give advice. He watched from the curtain. He helped write promos. He pulled people aside to offer pointers. When others chose silence, Cena stepped in. Not with lectures, but with a hand on the shoulder, a piece of honest advice, or a simple vote of confidence. He didn't have to help. But when others chose silence, he spoke up, quietly, steadily, never for the cameras. Often when the locker room felt like it was teetering, when ratings dipped, when morale dipped, when the future seemed uncertain, Cena was there, steady as ever. There are stories of him arranging meetings to settle tension, or quietly standing up for someone getting buried in creative. He didn't always win those battles, but he fought them. And when his own spotlight began to dim, he never clung to it. He let go with grace. He lost to Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, and more. He didn't politic for winbacks or force trilogies just to even the score. He didn't take his ball and go home. He stayed long enough to lose, to elevate, and then he stepped back. Not in bitterness, but in recognition that his time had passed. He even let Undertaker squash him in under 3 minutes at WrestleMania 34. No ego, no excuse. He gave Alberto Del Rio a shocking clean win at Hell in a Cell 2015 to transition the US title. Even after becoming a part-timer, he used every appearance to give someone else a rub. Reigns, Theory, Owens. And when he returned in 2021, he didn't come to reclaim the throne. He came to pass it on. Through all of this, Cena maintained a bond with the audience that many never fully understood. They booed him, they cheered him, sometimes both in the same breath. But Cena never turned on them, not once. He never mocked the fans who hated him, never lashed out at the jeers. Instead, he smiled, he saluted. He stayed true to the character, even when that character was mocked, memed, and criticized. He didn't cut bitter promos mocking the audience. He didn't lean into the hate like Hogan did when he joined the NWO. He didn't try to silence it with backstage politics. He just kept showing up, saluting, smiling, delivering the same message every night. Never give up. It became less of a catchphrase and more of a mantra for sick kids, for struggling fans, for a generation who needed someone constant in an industry built on betrayal. He could have turned heel. We now know he was ready to. New gear, new music, new attitude, all prepared for a full turn around 2012. But WWE backed down, afraid to break the illusion. Still, the fact that Cena was willing, that he said, "I'll stop selling t-shirts, stop doing Make-A-Wish, I'll be a bad guy if that's what you need," revealed more than they expected. It showed he was ready to reshape the spotlight. The company said no, so he stayed the hero. A decision made not in vanity, but in service. Wrestling had been his life, not a stepping stone, not a side hustle. And when Hollywood came calling, he didn't run. He hesitated, until he realized the business he loved might not love him back forever. So, he chose his exits carefully. Lost clean to Roman, to Styles, put others over at WrestleMania, took beatdowns from the bloodline, let Bray Wyatt deconstruct his career like a Greek tragedy, and through it all, he smiled. He knew his legacy was never going to be about one moment. It would be about endurance, about presence, about the simple, hard truth that for nearly 20 years, no one did more. But they needed him as the hero, so he remained the hero. even when the boos rained down, even when the locker room murmured, even when his own body begged him to stop. Because that's what John Cena was, the last workhorse, the last constant, the man who never left. And whether he was planting futures or preserving his own myth, he was always there, for better and for worse. So, if we peel back the layers, strip away the slogans, the applause, the whispers, and the headlines, what are we really left with? Maybe he was the guy who smiled for the crowd and closed doors backstage. Or maybe he was just the last one standing when everyone else walked away. Or was he the backbone of a company that would have fallen apart without him? The last true professional wrestling workhorse who chose loyalty over legacy and spent his prime giving everything to a business that didn't always give back? Tell me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Cena carried the past, but someone else now holds the future, the only one left who could save WWE. Watch this video to understand who.